close your eyes, take a deep breath and exhale. We'll all recite together. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone. Thank you so much. So we'll continue our journey of studying Bhagavad Gita. Last week we started with chapter number 3. We almost did almost half of the chapter number 3. We'll finish chapter number 3, 4 and try to finish chapter 5 as well today. Everybody has Bhagavad Gita in their if not, you can borrow the Bhagavad Gita from here, and we will have the shloka also on the screen. I will just take this paper here. Okay, so please take the Bhagavad Gita. There is a Bhagavad Gita in Hindi also, if you like. There is English also. Yeah, that's good. हिंदी से ये हिंदी है, ये हिंदी में है. You can take that. Okay. Yeah, so open it. No problem. It's okay. You can open it. Okay, so Bhagavad Gita as it is, we pay our respects to Srila Prabhupada, because Prabhupada ji is the one who translated this Bhagavad Gita from Sanskrit to English for benefit of all of us. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, Bhagavad Gita has total 18 chapters. The first chapter of Bhagavad Gita is called Arjuna Vishad Yoga, where we learn about lamentation of a person. His name is Arjuna. He is a warrior. Imagine yourself in place of Arjuna, okay? Because Bhagavad Gita, even it is spoken to Arjuna, it is spoken to us through Arjuna. So Arjuna is a medium through which we are getting the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Lamentation is a part of human life. Lamentation actually means confusion. In our life, there is always a problem and confusions. And the reason for our problems is because of lack of knowledge. Knowledge gives you light, and lack of knowledge is darkness. So Bhagavad Gita is a light which guides us throughout our life. That is why we are able to see the things as it is in a proper perspective. Arjuna was in a confusion because of darkness. And what is the darkness of? Lack of knowledge. If you do not know which way to go, you will be confused. Right? But if somebody guides you that this is the way, your confusion will be removed. So Arjuna was lamenting because he had no idea what he is doing actually. And most of us have no idea what we are doing. We get up in the morning, take a shower, go to work or school, come back, again eat food and go to sleep. So eating, sleeping, mating, defending, we are doing the same. Everybody is doing the same in a different scale. But we are not getting anything out of it. We are trying to do this for happiness, but we are not getting what we want. Arjuna as a warrior, he wanted to get his kingdom back, so he wanted to fight. But then when he went to fight, he was confused that why am I fighting? So because the ideas are not clear, the plan is not clear for our life. So in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1 has two sections. First section of 26 shloka is arrangement of army and name of many of the warriors, which you may not be familiar with, but it's a good idea to know some history because Mahabharata is the history. This is not a mythological thing. This actually happened in India, Bharatvarsha, 5,000 years ago, on a battlefield which is called as Kurukshetra. So what we are hearing now is not a man-made story. What we are hearing is actually happened on the battle of Kurukshetra. And then next section is the confusion part. When you are confused, what happens? You try to argue. You try to prove your point. But when your ideas are clear, then you don't argue. You go ahead and do the action. Arjuna was confused. So he was giving one reason, second reason, third reason, fourth reason, fifth reason why he does not want to fight. But he was not clear about any of the reasons. So then ultimately, after going through all the reasons, then he was not still convinced. He said, I'm not going to take any action, not going to fight. Not doing any action is also an action because you're avoiding your job. When you're avoiding your job, which means you are not performing it properly. So that is also your karma. That is bad karma, right? So that confused Arjuna. Then in the second chapter, he surrenders to Lord Krishna and says that I do not know what am I doing. Can you please guide me? And that is a sign of a wise person. An intelligent person would know what is his limitation, what is his not able to do. So that person will find the guidance. Sometimes people are not able to do, but they are not willing to take guidance also. So that is like a lack of self confidence. That I'm not doing it, but still, how can I proceed further in my life? So Arjuna was a wise person, and the sign of a wise person is he finds a proper guide because everybody needs help. We are not self sufficient, right? We all need help from others. So Arjuna accepts Lord Krishna as a guide, as a guru. And he says, Sishyateham sadhimam tvam prapannam in second chapter, seventh shloka. And that is where whole Bhagavad Gita changes the direction, right? That's like a hallmark shloka of Bhagavad Gita where it goes from a relationship of two friends to a relationship of a guru and a shishya, a teacher and a student. And then Lord Krishna starts guiding Arjuna. Lesson here is that we should not speak unless and until it is being asked. Okay. God has given us 2 ears and one mouth. Why? Because listen more and talk less. Right? So we should listen more and talk less is the lesson from this. Until Lord Krishna did not speak a single shloka, single word of knowledge until Arjuna asked and surrendered and finished his speaking. So then Lord Krishna starts giving the information to Arjuna and he gives him a guidance of self. It's called self-awareness. One thing which we all are lacking in our life is awareness. We are aware of others. How will he think of me? How will she think of me? Log kya kahenge? How people will think about me. But we are not worried about what I think about myself. Have you ever thought about how do you look, what you are for yourself? Most of the times we worry about others, and that is what the problem of Arjuna was. He was thinking about this, that, but he was not aware about himself. And whatever awareness he had about himself was confused. He was thinking himself as a Arjuna, but Arjuna by himself is just a body. But what is his eternal identity is the spirit soul. We all have these bodies, but our bodies are temporary. Everybody has been given a particular type of body for a particular purpose. But what happens when the body is finished? What happens to this body when it changes its from boyhood to youth to old age, and then the body has to be finished one day. Then what happens? And why everybody has different types of bodies? Why somebody is born in a good family? Why somebody is born in a poor family? Why somebody is born in a place where there are a lot of resources available? Somebody is born in a place where there is lack of scarcity of water also. Two brothers born in the same family, one does fantastic and one does not. Both the brothers were looked after by the parents equally, actually. It's not that parents had some discrimination. So if God does exist, why there is so much inequality in the distribution of resources? So these are the smart questions which we can start thinking of, and that is what we should be worried about. That's called Athata Brahma Jignasa. So Lord Krishna then answers Arjuna about Sankhya Yoga, and he explains him that if you really want the clarity about yourself, first you be aware of yourself. Most of the times, Arjuna was thinking about himself as a soldier, as a brother, as a cousin. That is one identity. But what is the second identity? We all have different identities. Like you have one identity at a workplace, you have one identity at home, right? At work, you might be like a doctor or a teacher or a customer manager, whatever it is. And at home, you might be a father or a son or a daughter. So both have different roles, right? If you do one role perfectly, another role imperfectly, you'll fail in your life. Is that correct? Similarly, we have one responsibility for the body, but the body is temporary. And then you have another responsibility for yourself as an Atma, as a soul. And that is called Sankhya Yoga. So Lord Krishna explains to Arjuna about Sankhya Yoga, but Sankhya has to be done with the intelligence. So then Lord Krishna explains something about Buddhi Yoga. Sankhya Yoga, the summary is that body and soul are distinct entities. And why should we know about this? Because we spend most time for the body. So you have one role at the workplace and you have another role at the home. If you spend 24 hours at the work, what will happen? You'll be disconnecting from the family. You'll be miserable at home, right? Why do we work? So that we can stay happily with the family. But if you work 24 hours, then what's the point in having family? There is no family then, right? Similarly, we have a body and we have a soul. But 24 hours you spend for body, what will happen? The soul duty is not done. So the soul will not be happy. You are happy at work, but you are miserable at home. You are happy in the body, but you are miserable inside. Why? Because there is no work done for the soul, Atma. So as you feed this body with the food, you need some food for the Atma also, right? And we learned this that the Atma, presence of soul, is a scientific phenomenon. It is nothing like a philosophical thing. Like there are many scientists, we talked about it, right? Ian Stevenson, Raymond Moody, so many scientists have proven that soul does exist. Reincarnation is a real fact. We watched a video, right, where a little boy remembering the past life. Why? Because there is a soul. So when the body is finished, what happens? The soul goes to another body with the mind and intelligence. That is why we are able to remember the past lives. Each of us have a past life, but we have forgotten, but it can be revived or recovered through a process called as hypnosis. So this is also scientific phenomenon. So many scientific phenomenon helps us to prove that we are the spirit soul and this body is a covering which is going to change one day. Like for example, you buy some sweets. When you buy the sweets, they come in a box, right? Is that correct? And then you take out the sweets from the box and put those sweets on the plate. What has changed? The sweet is the same. The box is now useless, so you throw the box because now the box work is finished. Now the sweets are on the plate. So what is important now? Sweets are the important, not the plate or the box. Is it correct? Similarly, the Atma is in this body and then it goes in another container. What is important? The container or the Atma? Atma. Why? Because it is the sweet which is important. It is not that container. I'm not worried about the container. I'm worried about is how delicious is that sweet. You got the point? Similarly, we all have to think about this inner thing which is called as the spirit soul. We are always thinking about the container. But are you going to eat the container? You're going to eat. Because that's like, even though the packaging is very nice, but ultimately you have to throw the package. What you want is inside. You're not concerned about the outside, right? Like an Apple phone comes in a very nice package, very nicely packed. But what do you do with that package? Do you preserve it forever? Do you carry always with you? No, you carry the phone because that is what is important for you. Similarly, we have to think about this package. This body is a package. And everybody has a different type of packaging because everybody is different person, right? But not to think that the package is the phone. If you start thinking that box is the phone, you are crazy. Is that right? You are ultimate crazy person if you, instead of carrying the phone, you are carrying the package with you, all box all the time. Similarly, we have to start applying in our life that okay, I am something beyond this package. I'm not this package because this box has to be thrown off one day. This box is never going to last forever. And I'm not interested in the box because I'm interested in what is inside the box. And that is what our identity is. Because one day we have to give up this body. Anything connected with the body is going to get finished immediately. Right? So, Lord Krishna says that soul is the active principle, the body is just there. Body has little utility. Yeah, body has a utility. But thinking that body is everything is a complete misguidance. You got the point? Yeah. So then Lord Krishna is saying to Arjuna, everybody has to change the body. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantaram prapti. Everybody has to change the body. Nobody is eternal in this body. So don't be attached too much to the box which you have to ultimately throw. We are so much attached to the body that anything connected to the body, if we lose it, we feel miserable pain. Is that correct? If you lose a phone or money or family or friend, we are so much attached to the body that Arjuna's life was miserable just by the thought of losing family members. Imagine about losing. Just by the thought itself is so scary. Why? Because for so many years and years and years, we are thinking that I am this body. That's a so Lord Krishna is saying that a dhira or a sober person, the person who has knowledge, will have this clear understanding that okay, this is one which is body, but this is just a temporary covering, and I am a spirit soul, and my identity is entirely different. You get the point? Like, job is one thing just to sustain my family, but what is important? Family. Similarly, the body is just a protection for the soul, but what is important? The soul is important. Like, I have this shirt. Why the shirt is there? To protect my body. But what is important? The body inside. I should not be worried all about the shirt all the time. Is that right? Similarly, we have the soul inside. I am the soul inside, and I have two layers of covering. One is this covering, and this is another. I have two shirts here. Similarly, there is a subtle body, and then there is a gross body. So when I'm wearing this, then you may not be able to see my whole shirt, right? But there is a shirt inside. Similarly, I have a subtle body, which is mind, intelligence, and ego. And then on the top, there is gross body, Sthula Sharira and Sukshma Sharira. What is it called? Sthula and Sukshma. Sukshma means very small, and Sthula means gross. You can see it. You can see my hands, you can see my legs, you can see my head, but you cannot see is the mind. You cannot see anybody's mind. The doctors cannot find mind with MRI, CT scan. Nobody can see it. You cannot see intelligence. You can perceive the intelligence with how he talks, how person says or behaves. And ego. Everybody has ego, but we don't know where is the ego. Because this is an entity actually. Even animals have an ego. Now, this is also there. So this is a part of a subtle covering. Okay. So when we die, when the body dies, actually, the soul with this subtle covering goes to another body. Huh? And that covering, that subtle covering is the one which has the memories. So I have a memory from my previous life when I was an animal. I have my memory from my previous life when I was a dog or a cat or whatever it is. We have gone through 8,400,000 type of species of life. And by fortunately, we got this human body, which has a special advantage. Now, this gross body, as we said, is made up of elements: earth, water, air, fire, and ether. Right? So, when we die, what happens? When the body dies, what happens? All goes back to the nature. Only thing which is transferred is when the box, you change the box, what is transferred is the sweet. Is that right? Similarly, what is transferred is the soul, which is eternal, which is its essential part. Non-essential part is not required. You understand? Okay, so that is what it is. And then this is the analogy. Our body has senses, right? So these are compared with the horses. Then there is a mind. Mind control the horses, and that mind is being controlled by intelligence, and the spirit soul is a passenger. Okay, so here what is important is that the intelligence has to give command to the mind has to give command to the senses. So it means that whatever the senses needs, if it is controlled through the intelligence, then only that senses needs to be satisfied. If the horses starts running of their own, the chariot will go in a ditch. But it's the driver who is important, right? If the driver loses the control, then the whole chariot is gone. So this intelligence has to be purified. That is called as buddhi yoga. That is where Lord Krishna starts speaking the concept of buddhi yoga. There are some characteristics of the soul Lord Krishna speaks in second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, but one of the most important characteristics of soul is it is eternal. Soul will never die. Whatever, we are never going to die. What will die is this body. This package is going to finish, but I am eternal. And that concept is very, very important because uh, our most important thing in our life which stops us from doing anything is the fear. And what is that fear of? Fear of losing and fear of dying. Right? And that's why we are so much scared actually. So when we lose this care, this fear that okay, I am eternal, this body is temporary. Somehow or other, I have to use this body. And what am I going to lose if I use it for a good cause? Nothing. There is no loss actually. Every time we are thinking about what about me, what about me, what about me. So this is what about you. What is that? Use this body for right cause. That is what the whole purpose is, right? So we are transmigrating always, transferring, and we have to use your intelligence and tolerate the things. Now, sometimes in your life you will get unnecessary things, but it's okay. Like a winter is there, we tolerate it, we don't complain. Similarly, sometimes people will respect you, you just take it. And sometimes people will disrespect you, just take it, doesn't matter. Just be a neutral observer. Why? Because everything is external. They are respecting your body and they are disrespecting your body because they don't know that I am beyond this body. So people might criticize you, but that's okay because they are ignorant. You get the point? Okay. So that is called intelligence. And then with intelligence, what do? We do self control. So intelligence will give command to mind, and mind will command to the horses, right? And why the sense control is important? Why senses should be controlled? Anybody? Why the horses should be controlled? You see, as I said, that if the horses are not controlled, it will carry your chariot into a ditch. Is that right? Similarly, you need to control your senses, because if your senses are not controlled, you will never be happy. Senses are so eager to take their medium of enjoyment, but not necessarily all enjoyment is good for your soul, right? What everybody likes to eat, but not necessarily all food is healthy. You have to be very careful what is good and what is not good for you. Similarly, our senses likes to eyes like to see, and ears like to hear, but not all seeing is good for your health. Is that right or wrong? So sometimes you see the things which you should not be seeing. What happens? Because the senses are the openings through which the knowledge enters. These are called as gnanendriyas. Eyes, we get the knowledge. Ears, we get the knowledge. Mouth, we get the knowledge. Skin, we get the knowledge. So there is a principle called GIGO. Garbage in, garbage out. It's called GIGO principle. What is it called? GIGO. What is it? Garbage in, garbage out. Right? Good in, good out. So if you put the garbage in your brain through the senses, the garbage will stay with you and it will come out also will be garbage only. So we have to think with the intelligence what I am putting through my senses. That is called sense control. That is where Lord Krishna says to Arjuna that you should control your senses like a turtle covers his bodily limbs through the shell. So whenever not required, I'm not going to open my senses because this is not good for me. I'm not allowing any garbage in my life. Is that correct? Do you want garbage in your home? No, we want it to be purified, right? Our home has to be clean and neat, and so that is what is the control of senses, stopping the garbage entering your brain. And how do you stop it? How do you control the senses? Intelligence. Intelligence is very important. Intelligence has to be purified. And how do you purify intelligence? Very nice. Krishna consciousness. Intelligence has to be engaged in the right way and through knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. Because it's all about knowledge. Intelligence is all about knowledge, right? So your association is very important, what you are taking, what you are hearing. So here Lord Krishna explains to Arjuna about Buddhi Yoga. In the second chapter then for Lord Krishna talks about Buddhi Yoga, and he considers Karmanyavadhikarasya, as Prabhuji talked about the shloka, that what is in your hand is the actions, karma, nothing in your hand beyond that. And then Lord Krishna carries that concept of karma in the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where he defines karma yoga or karma actually. And we learned that karma is the actions or activities performed under influence of three modes of nature and the time. And this is related with your body, the Sankhya Yoga principle. Sankhya Yoga teaches you that you are not this body, but now you have a body. So what is the use of this body? Do karmas, right? And while doing this karma, then you have to understand that there are forces controlling this karma, right? So like say you are working in a hospital, they need to know who is your boss, who is the supervisor, who is the manager, who is your colleague, right? Why? Because you have to work with everybody. It's like a teamwork, right? You can't work independently. Like say you are working in a Walmart or superstore, wherever. You need to know the people around you who are your workers. Similarly, uh, we need to know the actions are being performed under the influence of time, which is one of our factor, and then the three modes of nature, three gunas, right? Sattva guna, Rajoguna, and Tamoguna, right? So these are always our colleagues, our people who are around us. And we have to be very careful. Like when you go to work, some people are nice, some people are okay, and some people are really rude to you. What do? You just make sure that you stay away from the people who are giving you trouble, and then who are helping you, you go with them and make your work happen. Is that right? Because everywhere, it's not necessarily everything is going to be rosy, right? Right, in your life also, when you get married, uh, some of your family members are good, some are okay, some are pulling you down, but it's okay. You have to deal with everybody. Similarly, in the nature also, there is sattva guna, rajaguna, and tamoguna. Sattva guna is one which will promote you, take you up. Tamoguna is one which will take you down, and rajaguna is okay, in between. So what do you do with those people? Tamoguna, you stay away, because these are the people which are not helpful to you. Is that right? Then good people who are helping you, you associate with them. So that is sattva guna. And rajoguna, middle. You have to think about this. How can I go to the better way? Is that right? So we talked about mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. And we understood this with another analogy. In a car, you have the regulator, right? Everybody drives the car here. So on the right side is heat, left side is cold, and in the middle is neutral. Is that right? There's a knob there. You change the temperature. Right? So it's the same machine. Sometimes it becomes good, very cold. Sometimes it becomes hot. Sometimes it stays neutral. Similarly, we are the same people, but we can be nice someday. We can be very nasty some other day. Is that right? Or no? Have you experienced one day you're really good and another day you are really angry and shut down completely? Does that happen? Why? Because these forces are acting upon us. These are the three modes of nature, Sattva, Raja, and Tamo. And then these three modes have their own qualities. So make sure that we are all always with the Sattva Guna. Sattva is the one which is elevating. Like as I said, if you have some three friends, one is a very nice person who is always helping you, one is always criticizing you, and one who is in between, sometimes here, sometimes there. What do? Whom you really like? The friend who is helping you always. Huh? Sometimes here, sometimes there is a real problem. It's a dicey thing, right? Is that right? Because you never know when he will change his party. Sometimes he will go this way, that way. And then person who is pulling you down, what do? Stay away from those people. I don't want to fight with you, but please, I want to stay away from you. Is that right? Because the smart people don't fight actually. Whenever you have a disagreement with anybody, there is no point in fighting because you lose your time. What do? Stay away from that person. That's the intelligence, right? Because staying away will give him a lesson. You don't talk to that person, he will understand that, okay, I did something wrong. Right? Rather than arguing and complaining, nobody understands that way nowadays. People are adamant. So similarly, Sattva Guna, Rajoguna, and Tamoguna. What do? Rajoguna is in between. Tamoguna is pulling you down. So I say, okay, I don't want to be Tamoguna. I rather not associate with Rajoguna. I always want to be with Sattva Guna. And Sattva Guna can be in the food. You select the food which is vegetarian, very nice, green, colored food, which is healthy also and is offered to Krishna. Rajoguna food is very spicy, oily, uh, not good for your health. You know. And Tamoguna, meat, fish, eggs, we avoid it. Similarly, entertainment in Rajoguna, like watching some violent movie or something like that, it disturbs us, right? Tamoguna entertainment is usually like going to alcohol or drinking or something like that, which is not good. Sattva-guna entertainment, reading nice self-development material, reading or listening to very nice self-healing lectures or classes or like that, or reading Bhagavad Gita, chanting japa, all these are sattva guna. So we have to think about this with the intelligence. This is what is called intelligence. This is how you're going to drive your life. Huh? So this is what all about. And then while doing this, Lord Krishna says to Arjuna that this has to be done in a mood of a sacrifice. Yagnartha karmana anyatra lokaya karma bandhana. So whatever you do in the sattva guna also, what we do is We thank Krishna. But Krishna, I am doing this because you have given me this body. Who gave you this body? Krishna gave you. Who gave you the time? Krishna gave you time. Who gave you the resources? Krishna gave you. You couldn't manufacture anything. So that is what? Yagnartha. So everything is to be done in the mode of yagna. So when we eat the food, what do we do? Offer it to Krishna. That is yagna, right? Without eating, we should not. Huh? What happens if you take the food without somebody's permission? So I come to your home and take it without your permission. Everything I start grabbing. That's not good. That's sinful. So that is called as sinful. So Lord Krishna further says in third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Mayi sarvani karmani sanyasyadmache adhyatmachetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yuddhasva vigata jvara. Mayi sarvani karmani. Mayi means me, sarvani, sarva, all, karmani, karma. So Lord Krishna is saying, you have question? Yes, yes.
I don't have question, but from the three modes of nature, I like the traffic light, like yellow light,
Very nice.
Sattva is the green light, because when there's green light, we pass through the intersection. When there's yellow light, we wait. And then when there's red light, we stop because red is bad, neutral, and green is good. I figured it out when you said that Sattva takes us towards us.
Very nice.
Rajoguna is okay, and Tamoguna demotes us.
Very nice. I really like it. Really, really amazing. You see, he's a very intelligent boy. So nice, so nice. Yes, that's true actually. So Sattva Guna is you should go with the Sattva. That's a green light. And Tamoguna is please don't go there. Stop. And if you see Rajoguna, just think about it when to go towards Sattva. Don't just jump. You may be in a trouble sometimes. That's really good. I like it. Yes. So Lord Krishna is saying that Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya Dhatma Chetasa. So whatever Sattva Guna work we are doing, if you try to take a credit, again you are trying to be on the Rajoguna level. When you are in Sattva Guna and you are saying I am doing, I am doing, I am doing, so you want to be very egoistic. That is almost as good as Rajoguna, right? So when you do Sattva Guna but thinking it and giving the credits, like say you give credit to your colleagues, your parents, and ultimately to Lord Krishna, that okay, whatever I am today is because of my parents, whatever I am today is because of my friends and colleagues, and whatever I am here is because of Lord Krishna's blessings. So that is called sannyasa, adhyatma chetasa. This is chetasa. Chetasa means consciousness. So all is about how conscious you are of your surroundings, right? Then further, Lord Krishna says, so this is the summary. Work has to be performed as a sacrifice, means understanding, and otherwise it will cause bondage. Bondage means you will be in Rajoguna and Tamoguna, which is a bondage. Sattva is liberating. Then Arjuna asked to Lord Krishna, can you all repeat after me? Arjuna Vacha Atha Kena Prayuktoyam Papam Charati Purushaha. So we'll recite the whole thing again. Arjuna Vacha Atha Kena Prayuktoyam Papam Charati Purushaha. Prayukta. Prayukta is a Sanskrit word for forced, impelled. So Arjuna is asking to Lord Krishna that, O Krishna, but what is one impelled to sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force? By what is one impelled? So sometimes people know that they are doing sinful, but still they do it. Right? A thief who is stealing knows that he is stealing. Stealing is Not good for you, right? Do you think that the thief doesn't know it? He knows it. Huh? People who are killing the animals, they know killing is bad, but still they do it, right? So sometimes we also do sinful activities. Nobody is without sins. And knowingly sometimes we do sin. Unknowingly is one thing, but knowingly sometimes we do it. So why do we do it? Arjuna is asking these questions. So another question is that if there is a God, then why does not he stop people from doing bad things? That is another question here. You get the point? Like if it is the God within you, as I said, there is a Paramatma within all of us. There is a God within all of us. The indirect question here is, if there is a God, then why is he not stopping us from doing sinful activity? You get the point? This is another way to rephrase this same question. That why one is doing sinful activities? Because you said that doing sin is bad. Then why can't God stop us? Or why, if there is a God within me, then why doesn't he interfere in it? Do you think that is a logical question? Yes, right? Like knowingly also, sometimes we know that to say something bad to someone is not good, or to be angry is not good, or to be lusty is not good, to be greedy is not good. But aren't we all doing that? Of course we are, right? So Lord Krishna, Arjuna is asking this. So Krishna is answering this question. Krishna says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kama Esha Krodha Esha Rajoguna Samudbhava Mahashano Mahapapam Vidhi Enam Ihavairinam. So Lord Krishna is saying, Kama Esha, Krodha Esha, Rajo Guna Samudbhava, Mahashano Mahapapma, Vaidhi Enam Hi Vairinam. Vairinam means, Vairi means Shatru, great enemy. That's the enemy. So Lord Krishna is saying that there are three main enemies, but two of them are mentioned here. Kama. Kama means lust. And Krodha means anger. So Lord Krishna is saying that most of the people, they do sinful activities because of these two things. One is lust and one is anger. You see, do you understand lust? When you have a lust, the it is expressed in your life as a sense of enjoyment, or you want to have sense gratification. Like somebody wants to eat too much food, that is also lust for the food. Huh? Because he wants to just keep on enjoying, sense gratification. And then when you are angry, anger, what is the manifestation of anger in your life? How does the anger manifest? A controlling mentality. Huh? The people who want to control, and if they cannot control, then what happens? They become angry. You understand this? So kama is sense enjoyment, and krodha is controlling. And when you do not get the control, you become angry. I want this food, and if you don't get that food, you become angry. Why? Because you want that control. Like say friends, a friend is telling somebody, another friend, and that friend doesn't listen, what happens? Anger. Husband, wife, then husband says something and wife doesn't listen, what happens? Anger. A big burst of anger. Is that right? A boss who wants to control his subordinates and the subordinate doesn't listen, what happens? He becomes very angry. Is that right? The children, when parents tell something and the children don't listen, what happens? The parents are angry. Why? Because they want to control. And the control is the manifestation of anger. So as long as you are angry, Lord Krishna is saying that Kama Esha Krodha Esha Rajoguna Samudbhava. As long as you have anger and lust, which means you have tendency to enjoy your senses and tendency to control others, and which are nothing but manifestation of Rajoguna Samudbhava, which is because of the orange light you know, because of the middle thing. Rajoguna. Most of the people are usually in the Rajoguna. Like 80% of the time, we are all in Rajoguna. And then that Rajoguna can take us up or down. And we have to decide with the intelligence whether we want to go up or we are all in the middle. And then we decide whether sometimes we slide down and sometimes we go up. So Lord Krishna is saying that is kama isha krodha isha rajoguna samudbhava mahashano mahapapa. This is the one which destroys you. What is that destroys you? Lust and anger. And then there is a greed in between. Lust, anger, and greed are the highway to hell. If you really want to put yourself in trouble, what do? You become lusty, you become greedy, and you become angry. And they are all connected actually. How the greed is manifested? Like say, I said, lust is manifested as sense enjoyment, anger is manifested as control. How the greed is manifested? Proprietorship. I want to own everything. I want a car, I want a house, I want a this, I want a that. So proprietorship. You want to be the owner. That is how greed is manifested in your life. You understand? So when I have a tendency to enjoy, when I have a tendency to accumulate, proprietorship, and when I have a tendency to control, these three are my destroyers of my happiness. That is what Lord Krishna is. So these are the three which forces one to do sinful activity. Any questions? I see some questions on somebody's phone. Is that okay? Any questions? No? So Lord Krishna is saying, it is the lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath. Wrath is anger, which is all devouring sinful enemy of this world. And actually, lust, greed, and anger goes together actually. When you want something, you don't get it, you become angry. And when you get it, you want more. You get it? If you want some, say, samosa or gulab jamun, and you want to have it, you don't get it, it's served to him but not to you, then you are angry, disturbed. And when you get it, you want more. Your mind is like that, right? So this is what it is. So there's three things to be avoided. What are these? Lust, greed, and anger. And as I said, they are manifested as lust, anger, and greed. Lust is manifested as sense enjoyment, anger is control, and proprietorship is greed. So how do you avoid this?
I have a question.
Yes, yes.
Like in this, it has written that Hanuman has done his anger.
Very good.
Entered like firing up all the Lanka
and
destroyed, and even then he's become the more favorite of Lord Rama.
Right, right, right.
So how?
So I was going to say that just now I was starting that sentence when you asked the question at the right time. That how do you control lust, anger, and greed? You can't control it. You have to just channelize it in the right direction. If you try to control anything artificially, you'll be failing. As he gave the example of Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra Rishi was a great sage. He did tapasya for 10,000 years. But then the Menaka came and destroyed his tapasya. He got attracted, right? I mean, who doesn't like good food, right? Everybody likes good food. You will get attracted. A cake is very delicious. Sometimes when there's a good food, we overeat ourselves. And then we put ourselves in trouble, right? Similarly, we all have this anger also. Everybody has anger. Because these are natural elements of our life, so we have to channelize them. So how do you channelize sense enjoyment? So use the senses for getting knowledge. So we use the like a social media. Okay, the phone is good or bad? Is social media good or bad? Or phone good or bad? Some people say the smartphones are destroyers of human society. I mean, I tend to disagree because it depends on how you use it, right? The phone is not good or bad. It is you who are using it is good or bad. So you can use the social media for getting knowledge, or you can, like YouTube, for example, you can get a lot of knowledge through YouTube, or you can get a lot of entertainment through YouTube. You decide what is your objective, to get a knowledge or to get entertainment. The people with low intelligence go with entertainment. People with a higher intelligence will think about knowledge. Similarly, we have a senses. We have to decide whether I want to use eyes for entertainment or eyes for knowledge. I have to use my ears for entertainment or ears for knowledge. Because knowledge is the one which is going to elevate you, and entertainment is a time waster. Like how many movies we have watched, right? Does any of the movie have ever helped you in your life? No, never. They're just time wasters. But if you watch a nice, enlightening video which gives you knowledge about yourself, self realization, self management, time management, there's so many wonderful videos available on the YouTube, right? Those will definitely elevate your life forever. So, similarly, is the lust, sense enjoyment, greed. How do you use the greed for good cause? I want to have money, but I want to use all this money for, say, building a nice hospital or some nice place where people can come. And so this greed is there, but I have a greed to serve others. You understand? So I cannot destroy the greed, but I can use the greed for right cause. So when I'm using the greed for right cause, I'm obviously not going to go do bad things. But I'm using the greed for myself, I might commit sinful activities. I have a greed to build a big house. I may go wrong way. But I have a greed that I want a big, say, temple. I know that, okay, if I'm doing a good cause, I'm not going to do anything bad. You understand this? Similarly, anger. We all are going to be angry one day or other. But anger to protect others. If somebody is coming here to attack you, I will be very angry. I'll say, okay, I'll fight with you for that. Why? Because you are not doing the right thing. But if somebody says something to me, I said, okay, he is ignorant, I will not worry about him. So anger, as he gave the example of Hanumanji, Hanumanji did not become angry when Ravana was criticizing him. But Hanumanji became angry when Ravana started criticizing Ramachandraji. He said, okay, now let me teach you a lesson. That if you're criticizing my master, who is giving so much benediction to everyone, I'll teach you a lesson. And then he said, if I alone can burn your whole thing, what my master can do? Can you imagine? So when somebody abuses me, I will forgive him. But if somebody says something bad to my parents, for example, I will say, okay, can you please stop it? Because you're crossing your limits now. I will be disturbed because now we are going beyond and above what you should be. Right? So you can use the anger to protect others, not the anger to boost your ego. You understand that? Huh? So lust, anger, and greed, yes, they are there with us. They will always be there with us. We can't get rid of it. You can't control it. You can just channelize it. Now, this social media is going to be there around us. Can you avoid it, shutting your eyes and ears forever? Can you stay without internet now? It's impossible. Is that right? Everybody uses social media now. But we have to think about whether I want to use it for knowledge or entertainment. When you browse crazily, that is entertainment. When you communicate to give your message or you transfer some knowledge, that is proper. So we have to think about it and be smart, intelligent. That's called Buddhi Yoga. What is Buddhi Yoga means? Using higher sense, not just go crazy with the media. Okay. So then Lord Krishna further says to Arjuna that, hey Arjuna, Indriyani mano buddhir adhishthanam uchyate. Indriyanam means senses. Indriyanam mano buddhir ashyadhishthanam uchyate. Ashya adhishthanam. Adhishthanam means the place, sitting place. So where does the lust, anger and greed lie? So Lord Krishna is saying man and buddhi. Senses, mind and intelligence. Indriyanam, mana buddhi. Senses, mind and intelligence are the places where lust, anger and greed are situated. Is that right? So eyes, ears, nose, tongue, belly, genitals, all these are the places where lust, greed and anger is there. So we have to control all the senses. Every sense has a work actually. These senses are just like instruments. Like I have a hands. What is the function of hand? to say cook the food or to grab something. What is the function of my legs? To walk. What is the function of my eyes? To see. They are just like instruments, and we have to treat them as instrument. We don't have to treat them as everything. And then mind and intelligence are also instruments to the soul. They're just the mediums, right? So in these are the places where you have to channelize your energy, right? Then further, Lord Krishna in the next sloka, Lord Krishna is advising to Arjuna to control the senses. Therefore, Arjuna, best of Bharatas, in very beginning curbed this great symbol of sin, lust, by regulating the senses and slay this destroyer of knowledge and self-realization. So Lord Krishna is asking Arjuna that, hey Arjuna, this lust, greed and anger, these are the things which will destroy your life. So can you please control it through the higher intelligence? So basically Lord Krishna is saying that, hey Arjuna, you are now crying. Arjuna was crying actually, and because he was too much attached to his family members and friends, and he was thinking in the terms of bodily identity, right? So that's the end of the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and then we go to the fourth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is Divya Gyan, transcendental knowledge. So in this chapter, Lord Krishna gives the history of entire Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. So Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, "Hey Arjuna, I instructed this Bhagavad Gita, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Imam Vivashvate Yogam, Proktavan Aham Avyayam, Vivashvan Manve Praya, Manu Ikshvakya Bravit." So here is the history of Bhagavad Gita. Sometimes we think that Bhagavad Gita is 5,000 years old. But no, Bhagavad Gita is much older than that. Bhagavad Gita is actually millions of years old. Why? Because Lord Krishna is saying that I instructed his imperishable science of Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavad Bhakti Yoga to sun god Vivashwan. So you see, there is a presiding deity of all the planets. Okay, all the planets are like a different places, and every planet has presiding personality. So sun god currently is the personality whose name is Vivashwan, and then this everybody has an expiry date in the material planet. Like Brahma is also a position, and one particular living entity is appointed as a Brahma. Durga is also position, and one particular living entity is appointed as Durga. And then they have their own life, and then after that, another living entity will take the position. Similarly, at this time, there is a sun god, which is a position, and it is occupied by personality called as Vivashwan. So here, Lord Krishna is saying, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to sun god Vivashwan. Vivashwan instructed to his son Manu. You see, the man word is derived from this Manu. Manu's descendant are Manushya. Actually, you see, a lot of Latin, English is the is language which is derived from Latin language. Latin has a root, and Latin has a lot of roots from Sanskrit. Like for example, dental. You see, dental is a Sanskrit word, English word for teeth, and in Sanskrit it's called danta. From dant comes the dent comes the dental, right? Like maternal is related with mother. In Sanskrit, mother is called matrutva. From mat comes mat comes maternal. Paternal is related with father. Pitru is pit is pitrutva. Pit comes paternal. Like that, you see. So, a lot of English and Latin has origin in Sanskrit. Even many other languages like Japanese language also has roots in Sanskrit. Like there is a jujutsu art. You see that? You know, jujutsu is a martial art. Jujutsu, which means that it's like a karate thing. It's a Japanese word. What is jujutsu means? In Sanskrit, it's called yuyutsu. Yuyutsu has been uh, pronounced as jujutsu. Yuyutsu also means fight in Sanskrit, and jujutsu also is a martial art. So in this way, we can see that Sanskrit is the mother of all the languages. Right? So here, Lord Krishna is saying that I instructed to sun god Vivashwan. Vivashwan to Manu. Manu is the father of mankind. This is the history actually. And then Manu in turn instructed to his own son Ikshvaku. Huh? So this is the whole history of Bhagavad Gita. So here you can see that Lord Krishna instructed to Vivashwan, Vivashwan to Manu, Manu to Ikshvaku. This is the history. And then it carried forward. But then Lord Krishna further says that Evam parampara praptim imam rajashoyo vidu sa kalene hamata yogo nasta parantapaha. And then what happened? The cycle continued, but sometimes or further down the line, people stop reading Bhagavad Gita. Then what will happen? The knowledge is destroyed, right? So he says yogo nasta parantapaha. Nasta means destroyed. Then the knowledge was transmitted from one person to another, another to another through the knowledge, through the kings. But then the disciplines, the parampara stopped and the knowledge was destroyed. But in due course, this knowledge is destroyed. So Lord Krishna is saying, now I am telling you this again. As this knowledge has been destroyed, I am telling you this knowledge again. Why? Sa evayam mayate adya yogo prokta puratana bhaktosi me sakha cheti rahasyam hi etad uttamam. This rahasya means this secret. This science, which was transmitted from all the royal order, from one king to another to another to another, but got destroyed because people stopped following this yoga. And then I am now telling you because bhaktosi me sakha cheti, because you are my bhakta and sakha. You see, that is a qualification. So qualification to understand Bhagavad Gita is you have to have a devotion. You have to have complete faith in Krishna. Even for theoretical purpose also, for during this studying Bhagavad Gita, you just accept Krishna as your spiritual master. Then you have a relationship with him. Unless and until there is a relationship, there is no exchange. Like I am telling you this knowledge because we have a relationship as a friends. Is that right? I cannot go and tell anybody on the street because I have no relationship with those people. But we have some relationship. Like you tell something your brother or sister or your children. Why? Because you have relationship. So Krishna is saying that I am telling you because I have a relationship with you. So unless and until you have a relationship with Krishna during study of Bhagavad Gita, you will not get any knowledge. So even for a theoretical purpose, accept Krishna as your guru and guide. Then you will see the knowledge flowing in it. So Lord Krishna is saying that very ancient science of relationship with Supreme is today told by me to you because you are my devotee and a friend. This is the best qualification to understand Bhagavad Gita. Nobody can understand Bhagavad Gita as a devotee can understand. Like for example, I am a doctor, so and you are an engineer. I cannot understand anything of engineering because you have the qualification. And you cannot understand medical science because you have no training about it. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita has been, people comment on Bhagavad Gita, but people who know Krishna can better understand Krishna rather than the people who don't know Krishna and they start commenting on Krishna. If I don't know anything about you, I cannot comment upon you. So it is the devotee who understands Krishna can only comment on Krishna's knowledge. And that is what it is, Lord Krishna is saying. And can therefore understand the mystery. And this is a transcendental mystery. Rahasyami etad uttamam. So Arjuna is a very smart fellow. He asked question now. You know, people who are smart, they ask questions. And she's smart. Yes, go ahead.
I have a question not related with this, but a generic question.
Uh-huh.
Right? Why Lord Krishna told Gita to only Arjuna and not other Pandavas?
Correct.
Because all were capable to get the same knowledge as the Arjuna.
Yes.
And not the Bhishma. Bhishma is also the capable person.
Yes,
Right?
yes,
So
yes.
why not Bhishma and only Arjuna?
Well, Lord Krishna didn't tell Bhagavad Gita even to his father, Vasudev, Devaki, Yashoda, Nanda Baba. He didn't tell to Yudhishthir, Bhim, Nakul, Arjun, Sahadev. And he didn't tell to Arjuna even before. Why? Because once he accepted Krishna as a guru, then he started speaking. He says, I am your disciple, you please tell me. Now I'll speak. You understand? What did I say? Never speak unless asked. Krishna is a very smart person. He never speaks unless it is being asked by you. Yes?
I can answer this question.
You can?
Answer.
Answer, go ahead.
Because Arjuna was confused by seeing his relatives and friends on an opposite sides of an army, he became confused. So he started to worry that why should I kill my relatives and friends? They serve me, so why should I kill them? So that's why Krishna knew the principle to go to the right way. So Arjuna asked Krishna to help him. So that's why Krishna only speaks first, only listens first, and then he speaks.
Very nice, very nice. That's very good. Big round of applause. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes. So yeah, he gave the background. That is correct. But the main point is that Arjuna was there with Lord Krishna before also, but Lord Krishna didn't speak just because there was no relationship of. It was just like a friends, or cousins. When you are friendly, you argue. But when there's a guru-disciple relationship, then you accept. You understand this? So unless and until we accept Krishna as a guru, then everything will start sinking in. But if you are thinking, oh, that's okay, then it won't sink in. You understand? Is that a help? Okay. So then Arjuna is a very smart person, as I was saying, and smart people ask questions. So Arjuna is asking question to Lord Krishna. He said, Krishna, wait a minute. You said that you told this Bhagavad Gita to sun god Vivashwan, but you just appeared now, and sun god Vivashwan is millions of years old. How do you know? He said, the sun god Vivashwan is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed this to him? That's a really logical question, right? Like sun is there forever. And then you say you instructed to him, but how does that happen? I'm a little confused now. Because Lord Krishna, when he was there on a battlefield, uh, his age was 125 years, according to material calculation, earthly calculation. But they said, you just now, and you're talking about sun god who is billions of years old. How is that possible? So, why is Arjuna asking this question to Krishna? Because he knows that in future also many of the intelligent people on this planet will think that, oh, Arjuna accepted whatever Krishna said without asking any questions to Krishna. And this will be a blind faith. And then people will criticize Krishna. So Arjuna is asking questions on behalf of us, so that in the future people don't ask questions. It is not that Arjuna doesn't know Krishna, but Arjuna wants to ask this question for the benefit of all of us, that who Krishna is. How does Krishna instructed billions of years? Because Krishna is not an ordinary person like you and me, and that is what is going to be revealed here. So Lord Krishna is saying to Arjuna, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Bahunemi Vyatitani Janmani Tavacha Arjuna. Bahuni means many. Janma means lives. So Lord Krishna is saying that, hey Arjuna, many births, both you and I have passed. We all have gone through millions of lives actually. You won't even imagine, but we have gone through billions and billions and billions of lives. We are here forever. We are here forever. But only difference between us and Krishna is, Lord Krishna is saying, you and I both have. Lord Krishna also says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam dharmasya tada. That will come the next sloka. But Lord Krishna is saying that we all have gone through many lives. Only problem is that you forget and I remember. Huh? I can remember all of them, but you cannot. And that's a good thing actually. Hope I don't remember my every life, because otherwise I'll be so confused. I'll have so many children and so many wives to look after, so many bills to pay. I will crushed. One families I cannot maintain. How about so many, right? But Krishna is saying that I can remember all the lives. That is the difference. Krishna is a constant companion of us in the form of Paramatma within our heart. Every life, Krishna is there with us. But and that is how he keeps observing us. Further, Lord Krishna says, although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. That's the 4.6. So he says that I am never born, Lord. He's a ajanma, which means that there is no birth to Krishna. But still he appears, like sun. Does sun get birth or sun appears? Does sun die or sun disappears? It just disappears from our eyes, but it is always there. You understand? The sun is always there, only the earth rotates, so we feel like, oh, sun has come and gone. Do we say the sun is dead? No. It just disappears from here but appears somewhere else. Similarly, Lord Krishna says, I'm always there, but it might feel like I'm here and I'm not there, but I'm always there as a eternal divine personality. Further, Lord Krishna says, this is a very famous shloka of Bhagavad Gita, everybody knows it, right? Do you all want to recite with me? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam shrujamyaham. So Lord Krishna is saying that whenever and wherever there is a decline in the religious practice. Now religious dharma and religion, this like even though dharma is translated as religion, religion here does not mean Hindu, Muslim, Christian or other religions. Because 5000 or even before there were no different religions. Hinduism didn't exist 5000 years ago. Even so, we call ourselves Hindu. There is no word as Hindu in Bhagavad Gita, or there is no word as Hindu in entire Vedas. Hindu is a misnomer. There's a valley called Sindhu Valley, and when Mughals were invading India or Bharatvarsha at that time, the valley, Sindhu Valley, they pronounced as Hindu, and then that's how the word Hindu came into existence. There was no Christianity 2000 years back. Jesus Christ's father was not Christian. Muhammad Paigambar's father was not Muslim, or even Guru Nanak Ji's father was not Sikh. Is that right? So all these are later on added things to our life. 5000 or beyond that, there was only one religion. What was the religion? It was love and serve. Love others and serve others. That is the only religion. Is that right or wrong? That is called Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan means loving others and serving others. That is our religion. There is no other religion other than that. Now we identify ourselves as I'm born in Hindu family, I call myself Hindu, and you're born in Christian family, you call yourself Christian. I'm born in India, so I call Indian. But these are all external identities, labels. Like say I'm a doctor now, but 40 years back I was not a doctor. And now I call myself doctor. And then after another 20, 30 years when I'm retired, I will not be a doctor anymore. You get the point? Somebody may call himself a prime minister, but he was not a prime minister 10 years ago or 15 years ago. And then after a few years, he will not be a prime minister. You cannot be that forever. Similarly, so-called labels, what we have, Lord Krishna is not talking about that label here. He's saying that whenever and wherever there is a decline in the religious practice, and what is that practice? Loving and serving others. When that practice is destroyed, I come again in a different form. And there is a predominant rise of e-religion. What is e-religion means? Again, not anything which is connected with love and service. When you become too selfish, when you start destroying yourself or the society, or when you start destroying the mother nature, that is where Lord Krishna says that at that time I descend myself. Right? So when you see like a Lord, there are main 10 incarnations of Vishnu. Matsya Avatar, Varaha Avatar, Vaman Avatar, Narsimha Avatar, Parshuram, Ramachandra ji, Buddha, Kalki, Balram ji in between. All these incarnations of Lord Krishna, they come here. This picture you see 10 incarnations here, right? There is a purpose always, and what is the purpose? Protect. And what is the protection? So paritranaya sadhunam, to protect the sadhu. Who is sadhu? Sadhu is not one who is wearing a saffron dress. Sadhu is the one who is Sadhu is the one who is practicing spirituality. He can be in a black t-shirt also. Sadhu can be in any dress. But sadhu is the one who is following the principle. We think that one who is wearing saffron is a sadhu. But no, even a family man can be sadhu. Why? Because he is following the principles. And a person in a saffron dress can be a sadhu also. Right? There's either way. So Lord comes to protect the devotees, sadhus. Vinashaya cha dushkritam. Vinasha means to destroy miscreants who are destroying the rules. You see, rules are very important to be obeyed. Is that right? When you don't obey the rules, what happens? You're punished. Right? And there are rules everywhere. Like say in a country like here in Canada, there are rules, right? Or any country there are rules. When you follow the rules, you are a good citizen. When you don't follow the rule, what happens? You go to jail. But in the jail also there is a rule. You understand? Or no? The rules are everywhere, outside and inside. So what is the difference between the rules outside and inside? When you are in the jail, you are bound by the stringent rules. You are in a very small cabin or room. It is pretty strict rules. In the outside, there are rules. Of course, you have to drive properly, make sure you don't hurt others, and you be nice and kind to others. But there is a rule. Is that right? So somebody say, I don't obey the rules. Okay, if you don't obey the rules, still you have to obey the rules. That is called as laws of nature. Nature also has a rules, right? We all have a rule. What is the rule of laws of nature? What is the rule of law of nature? Every action has equal and opposite reaction. That is the law of nature. Whatever you do will come back to you. So you say, I don't obey, that's okay, then you will be punished with another rule. Right? So Vinashaya Dushkritam means the bad people who do bad, then Krishna has to come in the form of a different form. Dharma Sansthapanarthaya, to re-establish the rules. Sambhavami again. I come again and again. The Lord Krishna comes to re-establish the rules. To deliver the pious and relate the miscreant, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium. So Lord Krishna is answering the question of Arjuna. Arjuna is saying, hey Krishna, you are telling, you told this to Vivashwan to Manu, Manu to Ishwaku. But then you just appeared. So he says, okay, I and you appear but you forget it. And why do I appear? For this reason. And why do you all appear? Why do we all appear? Why do we all take birth? What is that? To live, but why? Why do we take birth?
Bondages, previous life bondages.
Very nice. Bandhana. Because of our karma bandhana. Because of your bandhana, actually. That is why you are born in a particular family. We all take birth because of bondage. Did you choose your parents? No. Did you choose your parents? No. We can't. Did you choose your country of birth? No. Because we are bound. A prisoner who is bound cannot choose. When you go to jail, you can't choose that, okay, I want this room. Can you choose? No, because you are bound by the law. Whatever the room, they will allot you. And you take the room. You get it?
I heard that we do choose it.
Okay, go ahead. Okay,
Yeah,
you can.
I also heard that before the born, we have a choice where to go, but some
Yeah.
particular choice only.
So here is how you choose. You choose by doing your karma. Okay. If you do good karmas, of course you have a choice. But again, you cannot choose the ultimate thing. Okay. You do good karmas, which means that okay, you will get good results. You'll get a good birth. But you can't say that I want birth in the house of say uh, royal family. No, you can't choose that. You can, if you do good karmas, yes, you will get definitely a good birth for sure. That is guaranteed. But ultimate choosing is not in your hand. Right? If you buy a first class ticket, which means you go into the first class, but then which seat you will get, you have to pay price for that also. Everything has to be price. So your ultimate choice is in the hand of the Supreme. So Bhagya Vidata. That is Paramatma within your heart. So you can choose that yes, you can get a good birth, yes, for sure, with the good karmas, but ultimate thing is chosen by Krishna only. But in case of Krishna, he can choose everything. He can choose which house, which family, where he wants to come. He choose Vasudeva and Devaki as his parents. He choose Nanda and Yashoda. He choose Dashrath and Kaushalya. So he can choose because he is the original person, supreme personality of Godhead. So when God comes, Krishna comes, he can choose like that who can be his assistant, who cannot be his assistant. But we cannot choose because we are bound by laws of karmas. Krishna is beyond all the karmas. You understand this point? Like a head of state, like say president, he has amnesty. He cannot be bound by any laws because president they can't sue the president. There's amnesty to the presidents. Like here in Canada, all the embassy representatives of different countries they have amnesty. You can't arrest them. You know that? You can't go and arrest a counselor. I mean, governor. What is that? Embassy. Consulate General of India. Canadians can't arrest him because he's under a particular protection act. Similarly, Lord Krishna is above all the rules because he is beyond. So that's why we should not think that Krishna is ordinary person like you and all. That is what Lord Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna that Janma Karma cha me divyam yo me veti tatvatah tyaktva deha punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna. So he's saying that my appearance and disappearance are divya and my activities are also divya. Divya means transcendental, which you cannot just compare with ordinary things. Yeah. So, one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving this body, take the birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode. So, here Lord Krishna is telling to Arjuna about his transcendental nature. He is revealing his identity. Sometimes we think that Krishna is just like us, but no, Krishna is beyond us. We should not think that even though your father, he also looks like you with the two hands, two legs, and everything is like you. But you should not think that okay, now your father looks like you, so you can do anything with your father. So your father has a higher position. Even though he looks like you, he has a higher position. You cannot become your father. Is that right? Similarly, even though Krishna has the same appearance as us, with two eyes and two hands and two legs, but you should not think that okay, now I am becoming Krishna now. Then you will be in big trouble. So that is what Lord Krishna is thinking about. Okay. Um, let's see some. Any questions? Anybody has? Do you have any question? Yeah.
It's not like it's saying like is our life is because of our bondages. So while doing good karmas, is it good for our this life or like coming lives?
Very good question. So karma, it depends upon type of karma. For example, what type of seed are you planting? If you plant a seed of cilantro, or what is it called, coriander, uh, uh, that will grow within 7 days. So immediate karma result. If you plant a seed of a coconut tree, it will take few years for the coconut to come, but it will come one day, right? So some karmas will fructify immediately. If I say nice words to you, you will come and help me. Is that right? If I say something bad, immediately something bad will come to me. If you hit somebody, okay, you get immediately result. He will also come and hit you. But sometimes some people escape. You do something bad and nobody's caught you. So you think, okay, I'm saved now. But no, it will come back one day or other. Nothing you can, no. It's just a matter of time. So some karmas will come back, either good or bad, and some karmas will come later. But that's why bad thing happens in the good people's life. Because sometimes they might have done something bad. You never know. That is why bad is happening now. But instead of blaming their own fate or karmas, they are blaming others. Like say something bad happens, we blame everybody around us. But it's the me who has done something bad in my previous life or maybe in the past. And that's why it is fructifying. So instead of giving the blame to yourself, you start pointing fingers. And that is understanding the karma. Is that help you? Okay, let's do that. Okay, let's do some. Yeah, yeah.
In the past life, if we had done some wrong karma,
Uh-huh.
then in this life only we have to suffer, or in the next life also we have to suffer?
It depends upon type of karma again. It depends
So how do
upon
we
how.
get liberated from all of this, like just
Ah,
accepting?
so here is the thing. Janma karma chame divyam. Here it is said that. You understand this sentence? That is what I'm going to tell you about. Janma karma chame divyam. Yome veti tatvatah tyakta deha. Tyaktva deha punarjanma naiti mamitu. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not upon leaving this body take birth again. You understand this? So once we understand this transcendental nature of Lord Krishna and his science, the knowledge which is to understand Krishna means to understand Bhagavad Gita. Okay, Krishna is nothing but Bhagavad Gita. There is no difference between Krishna and Bhagavad Gita. So if you really want to be with Krishna, you have to be with Bhagavad Gita. So Lord Krishna is saying, once you understand this Bhagavad Gita, you will get free from the cycle of birth and death. Is that clear? Yeah? As I said that when you do not have knowledge, you will get confused. You will go here and there, here and there, here and there. But once you know that, okay, this is the way I should get out of this building, then you get out immediately. Right? Similarly, the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is saying that whatever karma you do, you dedicate that karma to me. Work has to be done as a sacrifice. Otherwise, work will cause bondage. Right? So, whatever the work we are doing, we dedicate it to Krishna. Krishna, this is for you. I am not related. I'm just relieve me from this stress. I'm just doing it for you. That's it. But ultimately, it is your duty. Whether it's good or bad is not up to me. I'm just doing my 100%. That is how you get free from the bondage. More you want to take credit, more you want to increase the bondage. But like say you are cooking the food, vegetarian food, you're not harming anything, but still you might be killing by bacteria or germs. That's karma. But you say, Krishna, I'm cooking this vegetarian food for you. Please accept it and give me a little remnant. Like a soldier who is fighting on behalf of a country, and if he kills somebody, the soldier is rewarded with a medal because he is working under the authority. But the same soldier comes and kills a civilian, he is punished because he is working without authority. Similarly, so long as we do all our karmas under the authority of Krishna and dedicate to him, then we are not bounded by the laws, karmas. We will not be punished for that. But the moment you start thinking, okay, I am the one, then that is a problem. You get the point? Does it help? So here, that is the answer is that Tyaktva Deha Punar Janma Naiti Mamiti Arjuna. Once you understand this whole science of karma bandhana, you understand the whole Bhagavad Gita. We are going through many more chapters of Bhagavad Gita. This is the superficial knowledge. We are not even touched the 10% of Lord Krishna wants to say. But even we grasp this will, but more knowledge will come through whole Bhagavad Gita. So then Lord Krishna further tells to Arjuna, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tatheva bhajamyaham. So Lord Krishna says that as all surrender to me, I reward them accordingly. As much time you give to Bhagavad Gita, that much you will get out of Bhagavad Gita. If you think that, okay, I have only 2 hours a week, yes, you have question?
In this, like it's written that once who understand like Brahma Jyoti, Nirakar Brahma Jyoti, even then he has like fear of gaining back to the cycle of
Yes.
birth and death.
Yes.
But one who understand like Lord Krishna's like Karya Kalapa and all, then he's always free from this cycle.
Yes. Yes.
I didn't get the difference between Nirakar, like Brahma Jyoti and.
Okay. So this is a little bit detailed science, but let's, as you have asked the question, I will explain you this one. That there are different ways of liberation. Moksha, we call moksha. So one type of moksha of this birth cycle is that you can either be promoted to, say, higher planetary system. You can go to Swargaloka, heavenly planets. Or you can go to Brahma Jyoti, which is mentioned there. It's called Nirakar Brahma Jyoti. Or you can go higher even to planet called as Vaikuntha Loka. So now the whole material world is only 1/4 of the creation. Okay, the creation is very big. And this in this creation, 1/4 is material world. And what is this material world composed of? All these galaxies. Like the one galaxy is the Milky Way galaxy. Our Earth is a part of a Milky Way galaxy, Shweta Ganga. But then there are millions of galaxies like that. Billions and trillions. Even the sign NASA, if you ever go to NASA website, just see the planetary system they have arrangement. All that is explained in this book called as Srimad Bhagavatam. The creation, if you want to understand, even the German scientists are studying Srimad Bhagavatam actually. Because the amount of information about the creation which is mentioned in Bhagavatam in all these volumes is beyond what NASA knows actually. There's tons of scientific information in these books. So only 1/4 is the material creation. 3/4 is the spiritual creation. What is the difference between material and spiritual? So material has an expiry date. Anything material is destroyed. All these planetary systems are also going to be destroyed one day or other. Everything has a destruction time. But in the spiritual world, there is no destruction. So even you are promoted to higher planetary system, even maybe Brahma Jyoti, you will have to have expiry date. Just that expiry date is longer. If you keep it in a fridge, the expiry is longer. Similarly, you go to Brahma Jyoti, again you have to come back, even though you have a longer expiry. Even Brahma has an expiry date, but it's very long. What is the longer expiry of Brahmaji? Like 4 thousands of Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar, 4 cycles of Satyuga, Treta Yuga, and Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga, multiplied by 1000 is 1 day of Brahma, and similarly is 1 night of Brahma. So it's a very big cycle, but again there is an expiry date. But when you go to Vaikuntha Loka or Krishna Loka, which is a spiritual world, then there is no expiry date. So then you don't have to take birth. So that is in 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. We'll talk about this when we come to 15th chapter. I have a big chart. I can explain you exactly how the whole universe is arranged. Shri Shri Gaurnitai ki jai, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Vrajavatsal ki jai, Shri Shri Jagannath, Shri Shri Baldev, Shri Subhadra Mata ki jai, Shri Giriraj Dharani ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. So when we do 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Then I will explain you all the creation of the world based on Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is a very interesting science to learn about the creation. But what Lord Krishna is saying here in this shloka is that as all surrender to me, I reward them accordingly. Ye yathamam prapadyante. The short meaning of this is that more efforts you put in understanding, more you will get out of it. Some people surrender Krishna. Some people think Krishna is a friend. So then Krishna will reciprocate as a friend with you. Some people accept Krishna as a guru. So Krishna will reciprocate as guru. Some people accept Krishna as a little child. Then Krishna will reciprocate as child. There is a sampradaya in India, Vallabhacharya sampradaya. They worship Laddu Gopal because they accepted Krishna as a child. So everybody has a different mood of worshipping Krishna, but Krishna will reward them accordingly. The idea here is that Arjuna accepted Krishna as a guru, so the Arjuna got most out of it actually. So more we accept Krishna and have relationship with Krishna, we will get more out of it, right? Then Lord Krishna further says, uh, sometimes people surrender to demigods, Devi Devtas. In Bharatvarsha, in India, there are 33 crore Devi Devtas, and people worship different Devtas for different reasons. Every Devi Devta has been given a ministry, appointment, like Lakshmi, Saraswati, Ganesh, Shiva, Parvati. All these Devi Devtas, they have been given a role and responsibilities. So Lord Krishna is saying, Kangshatah karmanam siddhi yajanta iha devata. Man in this world desires success in fruitive activities and therefore they worship demigods. Sometimes people worship another human beings also. Have you seen that? Like I've seen that they worship some film stars, or movie stars. They're crazy people on the planet. But Lord Krishna is saying that is called small intelligence, because like say you worship a particular demigod for a material benefit, but what is material benefit going to give you? It has an expiry date, right? It's not going to last forever, right? There are four problems which are called as absolute problems, which are birth, disease, old age, and death, which everybody has to go through. What is that? Birth, disease, old age, and death. Birth, disease, old age, and death. This is Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Doshanudarpana. So we all have to undergo this cycle. And Devi Devtas.
So yeah, as we know, we are going through the Bhagavad Gita, and at that time when Raja Parikshit was listening, and
That was Srimad Bhagavatam. So Parikshit is in Srimad Bhagavatam.
yeah.
Uh.
So like we are going to this. So I have the question like even Parikshit Raja also told the like I have heard the whole of Bhagavatam, but I don't have any interest of something like that. Like told me you Parikshit Raja was Vyas Muni, right?
Parikshit heard from Shukdev Goswami.
Shukdev, sorry. Shukdev, so he told Shukdev like, tell me something which can heal my ears or something. So my question is like, if we are going through Bhagavad Gita and it is for Arjun, it is for confused Arjun like us. So it will help us in life, but it won't take us to Krishna. Like even Parikshit Raja told to Shukdev like I want something which can take us to the Krishna or to the moksha. So it's the only Krishna Lila which can take us to the Krishna. So I want something that I want to reach to the Krishna, and Bhagavad Gita is the path to live the life, how to live the
Art of
life or something. But it's not the path to the Krishna.
Okay, so I understand your question. Thank you so much for asking. So there is always, when you go to the school, there are two levels of education. First, you go to primary school, and then you go to the secondary school, then you go to the high school, then you go to the college, then you go to the university. So going to Krishna path goes through your primary education. So once you become, so there are two things. One is you become human, then you become a good human, then you become a spiritualist, and then you go to Krishna. So now we are like on a level of half human, half animal. We are like in between. Our some of our tendencies are animal tendencies. Is that correct? Is that right? We don't have any rules and regulations in our life. We eat anything, whatever we like. So then coming to the human platform is, oh, I will follow some rules and regulations in my life. I will get up early in the morning. I will do meditation, yoga, because animals can't do meditation. Can animal do meditation? No. Can animal can do meditation? Animals. Sorry, my pronunciation. So now we are in between. So first we have to become human. We are now half the way in between. Once you become human, then you become a good human. So no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, and no illicit relationship outside marriage life. This brings us to the human platform. Then you follow the Ashtanga Yoga, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. Then you become a good human. Then you start reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, then you become a spiritualist. And then there is a way to Krishna. So we have to gradually progress in our life. So when you are in undergraduate school, like primary school, you learn ABCD, and Bhagavad Gita is the ABCD of spirituality, actually. So if you start following all the rules and regulations, no meat eating, we should avoid the meat at any cost. We should not. No gambling, no buying lotteries, no buying anything which is just like, putting the money on it and that's it. Then no intoxication, which means that no eating, no drinking alcohol, no smoking, uh, drugs, even the tea and coffee is an intoxication. You know that? Tea and coffee, they stimulate your brain and then you become dependent on it. And then people line up at Tim Hortons. Why? Because you are dependent on it. Now you can't survive without that. So that's an intoxication. Animals, they don't have intoxication. Actually, animals are better than us many ways. A tiger will not eat grass, and a cow will never eat meat. Why? Because they follow the laws of nature. But human will eat anything. They don't follow the laws. So we have to be better than animal actually. We are deteriorated. So to go to Krishna, first we become human, sorry, from animal to human, and then become little bit moralist, then spiritualist, and then come to Krishna Loka. But that is what art of living is all about, Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is ABCD of spirituality. Once you understand, then the next level is, this is a master's degree. Right? And then you want to do PhD, then I have another book called Chaitanya Charitamrita. So undergraduate, postgraduate and PhD then. So let's go through this one. So sometimes we worship some Devi Devtas, Lord Krishna is saying, but that is because of material desires. We try to find shortcuts, right? So some people will go to Lord Ganesha and say, Lord Ganesh ji, please give me this, so I will give you that. Do you do that? We all do that, right? But that's natural, right? And the Devi Devtas are bound to give that, actually, because that is their role. If you worship Ganeshji and you ask something, Ganeshji has to give you. And that is why there is big lineup at Ganesh temple, because Ganeshji gives actually. If you go and ask anything to Durga, that I want this, Durga has to give. If you worship Durga and if you ask, then Durga has to give, because that is her role. Like, Hiranyakashipu, he worshipped Brahma and he asked the boon, give me the boon, I cannot be killed. This way, that way, that way, that way, that way. Brahma had to give. Why? Because that was his rule. That was his role. He had to give. You understand this? Like you work at the job place, they have to give you salary because you have done the work. They have to give. Similarly, all the Devi Devtas, they have to give. But only difference is that they do not give considering whether it is good or bad for you. While the difference between the giving of Lord Krishna and Devi Devata is that Krishna will give you, even you ask, if it is good for you, he will give. If it is not, then he will not give you. For example, grandparents, they give anything to kids, right? Whatever they ask. But the parents will think, oh no, this is not good for my child, I should not give him. Like that is the difference. You understand? So, Lord Krishna is saying here that some people they worship Devi Devatas and they get it actually. But then, man in this world desires success in the fruitive activities, therefore they worship demigods. Devi Devata worship is very common in India, right? But they get it. What is demigod? It's called semi-god. Devata. Actually, God means one who controls. You understand the word God? The literal meaning of the word is controller. One who controls. Like everybody of us is a little God, tiny God. Because we have little control. I can control only my small room or my office or something. Like I can control the switch here, but I can't control the main hydro station. So I'm a little God. I can control. Huh? Like sun god can control only sun. Sun god cannot control the moon because there is another god for moon which is called moon god. There is a fire god, Agni Devata. Agni Devata cannot control the moon god. Agni Devata can only control Agni. And then there is a Vayu Devata, wind god. Wind god can only control wind. So there are tiny, tiny gods. But who is the supreme god? He can control everything. That is called absolute truth. So in the life, there are tiny gods and there are big god. So tiny gods are called as demigods. You understand? Or semi-god, you can say whatever the way you want. That's called Devata or Devi. So Devi and Devata are the different departmental heads of different ministry. And then on the top is the Prime Minister, who is the Lord Krishna or Vishnu himself. You understand this point? So now, what is the way to go? If you want to water a tree, how do you water a tree? Do you water every leaf, every branch, or you pour water on the root? So if you want to please all 33 crore Devi Devtas, do you please everyone individually or just please Lord Vishnu and that everybody is pleased? What do you do? That's the root because all the Devi Devtas are coming from Vishnu. Your question? Yes.
And on the question,
Mhm.
like if demigods like the fire god, the sun god, the moon god, the water god, the air god.
Mhm.
Like it's like we have ministries like the health, like
Yes,
the different
that's true.
ministers, health minister, home
Yes,
minister,
that's true.
defense minister,
Yes,
and then the president and the or the prime
yes,
minister at
Prime
the
Minister
high
top. Yes,
position.
that's correct. That's correct. That's correct understanding actually. But that does not mean that we do not respect those gods, demigods. You know, Devi Devatas has to be respected utmost. It doesn't mean that we have a contact with the Prime Minister, so we disrespect all others. That doesn't mean that. So we should respect all the Devi Devatas. When you see God, Lord Ganesha, you bow down immediately. When you see Ganesh, Shivji, you bow down immediately. When you see Durga Mata, you bow down immediately. Why? Because they are higher than us. They are not like us. They're much higher. That does not mean that we start disrespecting all the Devi Devatas. When you see Hanumanji, you bow down to him. But Hanumanji is who is Hanumanji? Hanumanji is Ramaduta Tulita Baladama. He is a servant of Rama. So when you meet Hanumanji, what do you say? Hanumanji, can you please help me to go to Rama? Because I want to go to Rama. When you meet Ganeshji, what do you say? Ganeshji, can you please help me to go to Lord Narasimha? Ganeshji is the greatest devotee of Lord Narasimha, actually. When you meet Durga Mata, you say, can you please help me to go to Lord Krishna? Or when you meet Lord Shiva, all the gopis of Vrindavan, they went to Lord Shiva. And they say, Shivji, can you please help us to go to Lord Krishna? And there is a temple in Vrindavan called Gopeshwar Mahadev, because he is the Ishwar of gopis. Gopis used to worship them. So that they want to go. So Devi Devtas, when we meet them, what do? We pray them, okay, can you please help me to go to Krishna? I want to go to Krishna. Can you please? Because you are better than me. Ganeshji is 100% better than me, or maybe 1,000,000% better than me. So when we approach them, we ask them like that. Okay. But what happens in other way around? People approach them as if they are the supreme. We say, okay, Ganeshji, you are the supreme. Please do whatever. That doesn't work like that. Okay. So I think we should pause here because it's 1:15 and you might be hungry also, and it has been time. But we'll continue this maybe next week. Briefly go over the last few shlokas of fourth chapter. So maybe I request all of you to study fourth chapter at your home, and then come with some questions on the fourth chapter. That is the homework. So next week, when we come, finish fourth chapter at your home. So we can quickly go finish the fourth within next 15-20 minutes and go to the fifth and sixth chapter. Any questions today? All good? Okay, thank you so much. Let's go for the prasadam then. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Thank you.